Hello guys, welcome to the next Banter Blitz. So it is 8:30 Central European Time and it should become our standard time. So earlier we actually started at 8, then we tried 9, so we are going to stay somewhere in the middle and see how it works. Alright, so we're here to play and maybe to learn something new. It always depends. So let me check existing challenges. As usual, would be very helpful if you can say if everything looks all right on your end. Giovanni says exactly that. Stream is fine. Video plus sound. Okay. Good. Thank you very much. So let's have a look. As usual, I'm going to start with several games against people I've never ever played before. And I can see the first one should be JJJ Siviglia. 3 minutes, by the way, so it will be sort of challenging, I guess. Because I'm very slow and very weak. I have to play just much faster than usually. So, let's try something like Bishop G5. The idea is to provoke h6, which may become a target for me a bit later. In general, I'm going to castle long. Maybe I should change my initial plan here because b5 is coming. So let's start with some sort of attack on the king side, just to see how black reacts. Okay, knight to f6. Now, bishop h6 may be very natural decision here, but e4 is under pressure and black is probably going to play h6, knight g4, so let's start with f3, just clarifying the things with the e4 and g4 square as well. h6 and now simply to e3, so knight g4 is no longer possible, which is good. And h6 may be a problem for black, excuse me, because first of all black cannot castle, second of all at some point I may consider playing some like g4, g5. Alright, let's just go away. And it's an interesting way to make black's attack here on the queen side not that efficient, at least for some time. And also simplifies my a4. Why not a4 immediately after b5? Because I was afraid of queen to a5, pinning my pawn. Maybe it was also not so bad after some like rook a2, you know. I just didn't want to mess with that. Okay, now I think it's interesting to try something like this, separating b4 and a6. Potentially, I may be interested in occupying c4, but maybe I'm just playing slowly here. So black is already undermining the center, which is kind of annoying. So I have to take, I guess. Now, let's go to f4 with the knight to join the fight for d5 square. Yeah. Not the best way to play that, so it feels like black's position is already a bit better. So, the only thing which is okay for me right now here is that black cannot castle short quickly. Castling long will be just a suicide. Castling anyway. Alright, so what about just grabbing that pawn? Knight takes e4, f takes c4, and queen takes h4. Wow. Alright, that was a nice trick, by the way. And I noticed that, fortunately, before taking that pawn. Yeah, my opponent is very imaginative. Okay, knight to c4. Can I take on e6 now? Knight e6, knight e2, and takes on d8. Yeah, I think it's kind of blunder. So I should be a minor piece up. After all. Or maybe I'm not. Do you know? Knight takes f1. Yeah, I'm blunderish. I didn't notice that move at all. Alright, should I take on f7 here to win at least a pawn? No, then knight takes e3, just winning a piece. Okay, that doesn't work. So I have to take simply. And then what? What's the next move? We'll just bring the knight to f2. Yeah, another blunder. Another blunder. Yeah, black outplayed me here. I should admit. Come on. Should have something here. Now I have 4 responsible there. Now it's a checkmate. Wow, what a game. What a game. Interesting one. But of course it was exciting only because there was a time trouble, a mutual time trouble. Black was winning at some point. I blundered a lot. In this game. Oh my goodness. A very nice trick was somewhere at the very beginning. So I thought that black cannot castle, but black actually could. And if I, for example, take on h6, which I thought would give me an extra pawn, there is knight e4. Very nice move. So takes. Oh, that is what I missed, actually. Now I see that. So I thought queen h4 and takes on h6, but here comes knight to f2, if I'm not mistaken. Just covering my king, protecting the rook on h1 simultaneously, and attacking the queen. What's going on here? So let's say if bishop takes h6. Is there something for me, or it's just anyway better for black? Rook takes h4, bishop d2, king d2. Yeah, it's just extra minor piece, right? Yeah, that's a minor piece. All right, that is what I missed, actually. Wow. Mr. Siviglia. That's interesting. So maybe after bishop h6, black doesn't have to do that. So something like, for example, d6, d5 may be also quite annoying for white, because like white is not developed at all, and black has almost all the pieces already in the game. This may be also brutal. Just d5, opening the position in the center, and then, you know, just smashing my king. Something like that. Yeah, but what is really cool that knight e4 doesn't work, and I didn't notice that knight f2 move. Oh my god. All right, then knight c4. Again, I didn't notice that bishop on f1 can be captured. I play king takes f1, which is obviously a mistake, so taking with the rook was probably a bit more accurate. At least after rook takes d8, I should protect g3 first prior to actually moving my knight to f2. Or at least I have to protect b2, so maybe something like rook to b1 could be a move for me. Don't know, but I did everything like a complete patzer. So now black is definitely much better, and only a time trouble actually saved me. So, all right, thank you for this experience. It was very interesting. I'm really excited. Okay, so let's see if we have somebody else I've never played before. Dr. Kanbarov we played 1 week ago, and I was just destroyed. But we'll come back to that challenge a bit later. So we need somebody I've never played before. Pikachu or Pikachu, I don't know. Or maybe it's pronounced a different way. And again, 3 minutes. So guys, I understand that you never attended my shows. So I prefer to play 5-minute games. Because in that case, I have time to explain the things. And that is my primary goal. So playing is good in itself, but I believe that the vast majority of viewers are here for explanation, for analysis, and so on. So it's quite hard when it is about 3 minutes. I simply don't have time. Okay, so this slow dragon with castling short. Main idea here is to occupy d5 square with the knight. That's why rook is on a1 to support e4, and to exert pressure along the e file once the e file is open. So just like here. With the c3, we actually limit the activity of black's main piece, so dark squared bishop. The next stage is to undermine b5 or just to play bishop to g5, also a possibility. Now, black is quite aggressive. And knight to g6. What should be next? It's very tempting now just to play knight d4 and after bishop d5 to play knight to f5, attacking the bishop on d5, pawn on e7, and bishop on g7. I am going to do exactly this. Because after g5, f5 is weakened, right? So why not to try to use it somehow? Now, d5 is under pressure. Bishop to d3 looks like a natural idea here. Let's try that. And again, I'm blunderish. e7 is not hanging after knight f5 because knight g6 protects that. Didn't notice it. My goodness, what's wrong with me, huh? I'm just blundering everything. But my opponent also blundered. Very important pawn, by the way. So queen takes h5 simply. That was strange indeed. So now g5 is hanging. Knight on g6 is under pressure. So I have a threat of just winning a pawn. Okay. What's the best move now? Queen takes g5. Yeah, why not? Let's just take the pawn. And bishop on d5 is under attack. So now we shouldn't even take the knight on g6. We may consider something like h4, h5. This may be much more dangerous for black, I guess. All right. So in this case, I would prefer just taking the knight, actually. Because now there is pawn e6 I can grab. And what do we have here? We have a lot of extra pawns. Because d6 is hanging, g6 is hanging. We're gonna have really big material advantage. Alright, let's activate the second rook. I think this position is pretty resignable already. Yeah, Mark is messing there on the background. Giovanni is right. So what should we do here? We should not lose on time first of all. Okay, let's just try this. a simplification of the position. We do have a lot of extra material, so why not to exchange some pieces. Okay, let's just take there, take there. Now rook b6. Attacking b5, which is weak. Takes there, takes there. Alright, it's time to go. And queen our pawns. Okay. So now we're safe. Everything is under control. We should just bring our king over. Check. Goes there. G4. Well-known mechanism. Not really. So. Yeah. Should be over very soon. Yeah. What's going on? How to win this position? I think I know. And now this. I was confused for, a couple of seconds. All right, checkmate. Why not bishop f7 as an intermediate move? Wasn't that possible? Bishop f7, at which point? Rook g6. What are we talking about? Bishop f7. Where was it possible? Well, queen trade. Oh yeah, that was interesting. But in that case, you also win a pawn. I mean, bishop f7, rook f7, hg6, we won one more pawn, right? And now black has time to protect e6, to play some like e5. After immediate capture in g5, and fg6, we also win a pawn. And I think it's more valuable pawn because this is a central one. And after bishop e6, rook e6, I win one more because I'm attacking g6 and d6 and activating the rook. Compare it to this line where black can play e5, so position is far from being clear. I mean, obviously white should be winning with so many extra pawns, but still, black is still having this bishop on the board, so black has more resources to create a counterplay, right? In our line, I'm just exchanging a lot of pieces at the same time winning material again, okay? In the ending, rook to g6, f takes g6 with check. Olaf. That's the question from Olaf, if you mean this line. Here. Oh, you mean rook g6 here? Yeah, that's right. It was possible. It was possible. But I don't have to take, so I can play this move. Pawn g7. It's not hanging anyway. I mean, takes, and this is also winning for white. But this indeed makes the things not so simple for me, but it should be anyway. Simply winning position. So rook is not hanging now, but black has to make a move. King h7 is not possible because I just take it. And yeah, next move will be f6, and then it should be winning. So it will be rook to c8 and so forth. Right? Right. Yeah, the king is already in the back rank. Pawns are being connected next move, so yeah. And Don William is correct. So Don William says correct things. So rook g6 is a nice try, especially if you have just a few seconds, and yeah, you may be easily confused and may lose on time even. Yeah, no questions. Rook g6 deserves serious attention. Somewhere in the opening, black played several strange moves. Well, actually only one. h5 was just completely wrong. I think after this bishop d3, bishop takes d5 was possible. And it's getting very noisy right now, so probably I will have to make a break and just tell my son to be less active. I don't know, it's really hard to focus. If it is not really disturbing, just let me know. If you don't actually hear it as intense as I do, then probably I will not do anything. But it will be another factor which will distract me. So maybe it will be even helpful for other challengers. So here, bishop d5 is probably a possibility. Obviously, white should have some compensation here. If I take on g6 after fg6, I believe black is even better. But I thought I would do something like knight f5, in fact. So now I have a threat of just taking the bishop on g7, then taking the knight on g6, then taking the bishop on d5. Black should do something with that. E6. Well, I don't know. d6 is hanging. It's also not very pleasant. Simply going away with the bishop somewhere, let's say to b7. Just back to b7, why not? I guess I should have at least some initiative after queen h5. Position looks very nice for white. But it's definitely playable. I mean, was probably worth trying. Just to take on d5 and to try to survive this attack. Don't know. Thanks for this. One more guy or girl I've never played before. Let's see. Is there anyone? Latvian Gambit we have played already. So, Cat Whistle. Yeah, let's play. And 5-minute game, finally. So I'll have some time to think and to explain my moves. Cat Whistle, f4. All right, let's play d5. So, that is interesting. So we have a stone wall reversed, right? Right. So it should be a good position for white. Although there are some drawbacks already. So e4 square, for example, is weak forever. White cannot change that. Just trying to exchange light squared bishops. Why? Because this bishop on d3 is potentially an attacking piece, because white's normal plan here is to attack on the king's side. And another idea behind it is that bishop is a defender of e4, which I'm trying to occupy at some point. So now it's tricky. If we take the bishop, cd3 is possible, protecting e4, so I don't want to give white this possibility. I actually want white to play something like this, so to move the pawn, so that now whenever we take that bishop, actually we get what we want in the sense of e4 square. Okay. Tricky position. So can we play knight c6? I'm just curious. Is that playable? I have a feeling that it is. So if cd5, we have intermediate capture on d3, which is fine. If dc5, then bc5. So should be okay. Now, to take on d4 or not to take on d4? It's probably too early. We can also take on c4. We can also play knight to a5. All these are valid options, I believe. Interesting position. So normally the stone wall is defined by c3, d4, e3, f4. Here white decided to play in a bit more aggressive style, which is quite good. I like it. So, well, let's try this move. I'm curious how white is going to recapture with the knight, not with the pawn. Let's simplify position a bit. Black is definitely having nothing here. Probably it's okay because we're black after all. So first of all, we should equalize. But maybe even this may be not so simple. I still hope that my extra central pawn is something here. And c5, an interesting decision. So now we definitely have one more central pawn here. One extra central pawn, as I call it. But white has a nice blockade here on dark squares. So let's see how to play this position correctly. I have to get rid of this bishop, I think. It's a good piece. It covers a lot. But I don't know what is the right method, so... maybe like this. This weakens dark squares a lot in my camp. On the other hand, e3 is also a vulnerability. So without dark squared bishops, I will have better chances to attack that pawn, maybe. So advantages and disadvantages of this decision. Knight to b3. Okay, this move gives me this square, if I'm not mistaken. It's probably not that much because of this exchange. Well, I don't know. But I have a feeling that white is already better. Yes. Have to be very careful now. Probably I have to simplify the things like this. BC5 deserves serious attention. I think BC5 was just very strong. Creating a passer. "48 seconds only on my clock." Well, not sure in that either. White should be safe here anyway, I suppose. C-file now. Maybe our target. Let's get there. Oops, sorry. D4 is a possibility. I should use it. Now, Oh. It's already something very strange. But I think with such a great pawn, I should have some good chances. Okay. 20 seconds, maybe I'm just lost in time, but... Or there's just a perpetual or something. All right, let it be a perpetual. Oh, what a strange game. Okay, it's a draw. It's a draw. Very, very interesting fight. I think I missed just a winning sequence somewhere at the end of the game. Not sure where. The position already felt like very promising. So here queen takes e3 was interesting, but then I have queen to g2, right? Also not so clear. So king takes h3. This one feels like a winning one. King there. Check. There. Queen to d7. Simply protecting. Simply attacking the pawn on f7. I thought I would have some like queen h5, queen d5. But this is probably even losing. So like, if king goes to... Oh, queen h5 was played. King g2. Yeah, if queen d5 here, then just takes. What's going on? Why am I not allowed to make these moves? All right, so... Yeah, it doesn't work for some reason. So queen d5, e d5, and king f3, d4, a4. I don't know. King g7, b5, king f8, a5, king e7, b6, a b6, a6. And wins the game. Yeah. So it doesn't work for black, this line. Something else, queen f1, just king g4. Yeah, I'm not in time. If I play king g7, then again... Queen d4 check. Yeah, so probably here it's still a draw. I think that white could have played better somewhere here. So rook c5, just bc5. Okay, I cannot make this move on the board. So bc5. Created passer immediately, and I don't have active counterplay there. Lots of dark squared weaknesses. I think that was interesting for white to try. Yeah, just bc5. If I blockade the pawn with a queen, you can play queen b4, then a4, queen b5, gradually making progress. It could have been very, very annoying continuation for black. But anyway, the game was interesting. The game was very solid. From white's perspective, I played not the best moves, I believe, and was punished for it. Anyway, Olaf is next. Accept the challenge and white pieces. Let's go. e4. Akan. Exchange the variation, and just as usual, I'm playing ed5. Okay. So Olaf plays that always. I mean, this line with this e6, leaving the bishop on c8. I don't think it's very good for black. I still believe bishop g4 is a better option. And then playing e6. But today at least, my opponent has a different plan. So, just knight e4, intending to play f5 next move. Interesting. This will weaken e5 and dark squares in general, but will give black this strong knight for some time. How should we react to that? Probably c4 immediately. Makes some sense. Yeah, let's try c4. But then queen b4 is possible. No, c4 is nothing, definitely. It's not a move. Maybe we should start with just knight d2. And after f5, there's c4. Or maybe a bit later. I don't know. The Drunken Lawyer joined. Good evening. Very nice you're here. So now I'm going to try this a3 covering b4 square. Maybe intending to play c4 next move. Maybe even c5 then. This will weaken d4 on the other hand. But may give us some interest in play. Because if black, for example, takes on c4, then after some like bishop c4, we'll have an access to e6, for instance. In this case, I wanted to try this. And then b4. Can we play that? I think, yeah. Why not? There is a problem now with the d4 on the other hand, and that is what I missed. Okay. So if we play queen to c2 now, there is knight takes d2. Very tricky. Sneaky. Oh, shit. Yeah, this is annoying. If we play bishop e2, there is still is knight e2, but then we can take with the queen. But the problem with the bishop e2, that knight c3 is possible. My god, I'm outplayed again. Yeah, I'm playing like shit tonight. Sorry for that, guys. What is the best way to lose a pawn here? I don't know. Let's just go away with the queen. Queen f6, my opponent decided not to take that. Well, it's also a good move because black attacks d4 again. Another possibility, which looks completely alright for black. So can we play knight b3? Then bishop f3 is just terrible for white. G takes f3. I guess the g5 now. It's just very bad. So again, what to do? I don't know. Everything looks just bad. So let's play queen b2. Olaf should win this game, I think. At least he deserves that. 100%. Knight e4 was also strong. But okay. Should be just good enough. Alright. Our only compensation here is that black has weakened e5 square, so pawn structure is not ideal for black here, so maybe we have some tricks. What can be our plan? We can move our king towards e3, but it's not very helpful. Black is still having a lot of pieces on the board, so it may lead to some sort of annoying attack on my king there. So let's just stick to play along the e file. So rook e1, first of all, covering e2 square, so that there is no bishop e2 or knight e2 controlling e5 square. I'm probably intending just to play this. Rook b1, knight b3, knight takes, rook takes. Then we're going to blockade e6 with the rook e5. And who knows, maybe long term we will be even slightly better. That's just, you know, like a dream. g5, undermining f4. Wow. Isn't it too aggressive? Maybe it's just all right. Oh yeah. This is strong. So I don't think we can afford taking on g5. Probably it was our only chance, in fact. Yeah, I'm doing something very strange now. But this is help. King f7, king f6 was probably just winning. Now, how can we use it? Should we play b5? Let's try it. I don't think I have time for anything else. Like this. Yeah, king f7, king f6 was just a clearly winning position for black. Now we have some chances, I think. Or maybe it's just an illusion, I don't know. Let's see. Wow. Yeah. Don William is right. It was necessary to take on g5, of course. Okay, I have to take this. It's lost. It's lost. There is no checkmate because rook on g6 is pinned, but it's anyway lost. For white, absolutely. Oh dear. Dear Lord. But now, I would say that position is becoming less clear. Oh, I'm a pawn up. Look at this. My rook is behind the pawn. Now it should be winning. Yeah, I won the game. Wow, what a finish. I mean, I was so lucky. I was so lost. Yeah, so in this position, a critical one, when black managed to actually win everything. So rook there, rook takes here. Yeah, I guess black should just play some like rook to c2, in fact. Just rook to c2 and it's time to resign. Because if I take on... well, maybe it's not the time to resign, of course. There are still some chances, but the difference is that now you just take with a pawn. After rook d5, you have super active king here. My king is completely passive. Although you have only one extra pawn here, I think, wow, it's just very close to winning the game. My rook cannot really go away somewhere, because if I go away somewhere, you just take my pawn. King is going to h4, then to g3, and then f3. So, yeah, it's just lost. All right? It's just lost for white. Rook g1, followed by f3 is probably the only chance for white. I mean, now it should be no longer that lost position. Now it should be more or less balanced, I think. But still, black can have extra pawn if he wants to. Goes there. Or maybe it's not so simple anymore. Yeah, now I can take on d5. If f2, I'm just playing that. But instead of playing f2, you can start with check. This is the right order of moves, and now you win after f2. Yeah, so just rook g2 here, and then rook c2. I cannot take the pawn. After rook takes f3, you just take on c5, and only you have chances here. Although it should be a draw. But after rook c6 and rook d5, well, it's still a draw, of course. But you should have played probably something like rook f6 here. Yeah, because after rook d6 you have king g5 or king g7. Should be still okay. It should be still in time. Don't know. But rook c2 was absolutely winning. Alright, and most likely here, instead of playing bishop to f3, f3 immediately was stronger. In which case, if I take there, rook takes, king goes to h1, and you just take there, move the king to g5. You still have a bishop on the board, that's what I mean. So it's a great factor because my king is very vulnerable here. So there may be even something connected with checkmate in attack. Don't know. Should be also absolutely winning for black. All right, I was completely outplayed. Very nice job. So this a3, b4 was too slow. d4 was weakened. I actually mentioned that immediately after playing c4. But then, yeah, forgot about that completely. And you just use that in a very good way. Just bring the bishop to h5. Yeah, very good play. Very well. All right. Always blame the mouse, except playing with black pieces. Yeah. Every game is sort of, heart attack. I cannot win even a single game convincingly tonight. That's a bad sign. Oh, this is interesting. So just weakening d4. Is that really that good for white? I'm not sure, but now I have a clearer plan. So we will play for d4 square. For that, I need my knight on e6. Is there a clear way to get to e6 with my knight g8? Knight e7, then knight g6, then knight f8, knight e6. Too slow, but I don't think we are in a rush here. So let's do that. Don Williams says, if I get to play, you will win convincingly. I always blunder. The question is who blunders first, because I blunder in each and every game. I blunder at least something, So my next blunder may be just huge. That's the problem. I may not just survive it, There is a great chance. This position looks nice for black. I mean, I'm controlling the situation on both flanks, at least now. So should I play knight e4 followed by c6, or just continue with knight f8, knight e6 slowly, just gradually get into d4 square? Well, let's try it. Experimental thing, but I think it should work fine here. If bishop g5, we'll just play f6. No problems with that. Bishop e3. All right. Knight to e6. Right in time to control d4 and prevent white's d4. And bishop takes c5. That is interesting. So I think it makes sense for us to damage our pawn structure a bit. I mean, create doubled pawns, but open the d file. And potentially when we play c6 and ask that knight to go away, the d file will be open and d3 will be accessible as an object of attack at some point. I mean, not in the nearest future. All right, I think it's a good idea to castle here. Then our next moves will include some like queen d6, f6 over protecting e5, then putting our knight on d4, this or that one. We'll see. Maybe we should also include a4 at some point. The only problem with the a4 is that knight can go back to c3 attacking that pawn, so we need the bishop on d7 before playing a4. If our bishop is already on d7, then if knight goes to c3, we'll just go away with knight c6 somewhere, probably to d4, and a4 will be protected. All right, so probably the plan should be some like queen d6, bishop d7, and so forth. All right, f4 may be a plan, so queen d6 also fights that idea, which is good. Now, what about a4? Exactly here. I think it should be good. Okay. So knight f5, is it that dangerous? So if we play knight c to d4, knight f5 takes on f5, knight goes to d4, f5 is hanging, f6, just g takes f6. Yeah, I think it should be fine. So knight c to d4. Bishop there. If c6, then knight b6, right? Yeah, that's sort of problem. So maybe g6. Weakening f6 a bit, I know. But I don't see how white is going to use it. So if knight f6, then king g7. So what? But with the help of g6, we cover f5, so we shouldn't be bothered by knight f5 or bishop f5 anymore. Unless white decides to sacrifice the material. But again, I don't see a justification for such a sacrifice in this position. So white has a weakness on d3. White has a weakness on d4. White has a weakness potentially on b2. If white plays some like at some point b2, b3 or b4, we take that and a3 will be weakened. Okay, f4 is prepared. This is sort of annoying. Should we play c6 here but then knight b6? Something that bothers me a bit. If we play f5 is not in the spirit of this position. h5 may be just fatal. So like bishop takes h5 and white will have very dangerous initiative there. Knight to g5 is a possibility. If f4, then knight takes h3, but our knight may be trapped there, so I'm not sure. Again. Right, let's try this line. Although I believe it's not correct. Knight b6. Rook to a6. Oh, a4 was hanging, by the way. Didn't notice that oh my goodness. As I just told you, so I'm blundering in each and every game. At least something. So let's take. Now it should be fine for black. So after g takes f4, just knight b3. d3 will be under attack. The rook on a1 will be under attack. Yeah. Knight a4 was possible. Probably it wouldn't make white's position like winning automatically, but anyway, having extra material should be quite pleasant, I guess. Now black is going to have extra material. Rook on a6 is misplaced. At some point it may go to b6 to attack b2, probably. Right now, though, let's try to do something else. I probably underestimated this threat to f7. I may play h5, of course. There may be a problem with that move as well. Oh god. Why am I so patzer tonight? Maybe it's not tonight. Maybe it's just you know, a problem. A general problem of mine. Well, my opponent really helped me here. I think after h5, immediate capture on f7 was very interesting. We'll look at that a bit later. Can I try? Should just take there. Come on. Yeah, play this. Now check. One more check. Takes there. 64. Very strange game. All right, let's have a look. So, Giovanni says, you should drink more, Andrey. Tea or something you like. I'm drinking coffee, but it doesn't help tonight. Usually it does, but not tonight. Not this time. Probably just a bad day. I don't know. Okay, so let's have a look at this moment. All of a sudden, White got some counterplay here. Mainly because of my misplaced rook on a6. So just imagine this rook is on a8. It's not dangerous for black whatsoever. So we can just play rook to f8 at some point and protect that f7 pawn. No problems. No catastrophe. After h5, I'm curious if white could capture this way. So if I take the bishop, it's clear that my king can escape, but maybe not for a long time. So like this, yeah, there is a checkmate. Look at this line. Just a checkmate. So after h5, just take on f7. And I'm not sure who's better here. Maybe white is just winning already because of that line. So if I take there, it's just king h2. And I think I have to sacrifice the exchange here on g4, but that is definitely bad because my rook is out of play. You have a passer on the e file, so on and so forth. If I play something like rook e3, it should be just oh, maybe it's not so clear. So if you play bishop e6, then I take on e4. Is it really something that gives me some chances? I don't think so. So rook e7 is probably just over. Yeah, I have to take the bishop now because if I play king h8, there is rook f8, another checkmate. And if I take on e6, well, you're just an exchange up, and so forth. So I guess rook takes f7 is just nearly winning. So what to do? Maybe just to bring the rook back to a8. I don't see any other defense, honestly. But then just bishop e6. It's an amazing bishop here. Now you will attack with all of your pieces like rook e7 and then the rook to f7. Maybe my only hope is to give you some perpetual check or something. But I don't know. Now there is a threat of rook f8 winning my rook a8. Maybe I have to spend one more move, just waste the time playing something like king h8. Looks just terrible. I don't know. Takes there. Then another rook to f7 with the threat of a checkmate on h7. Oh my god. Yeah. Good chances for white to win the game. Yeah. So it started like a very good position for black, but then I simply misplayed it completely. So what was wrong? I think c6 was wrong. It was not in time. And instead, I should have played something like, I don't know, let's say knight b3 followed by knight e6 to d4 deserved attention. Simply starting with, rook to a6 could have been an option. Because after f4, I can take, if you take with the g pawn, I can play c6 here. Well, now it's no longer that good for black, I think. Because now you have e5 followed by f5. No, it's just an attack. So probably taking on f4 is wrong. Let's say, what if I play c6 here? If that goes away, I just take on f4. If you take on e5 first, I take with the queen. And I feel alright because your g3 is quite weak. Yeah, so maybe knight f6, but then king g7 again. If you take on e5, I take with the queen. But you can try something like this, right? It may be very dangerous initiative. Yeah. So, then William says h5. If white sacrifices the bishop, you can play knight g7. Maybe. So h5, bishop takes, pawn takes. Yeah, but why can't start with this move? Knight f6 check. This may change everything. If king h8 and queen h5, and I think it's just a quick checkmate there. For example. Like queen h7, there, knight d5. I already have to take the knight, I guess, because otherwise it will be just a checkmate somewhere. If I play king g7, then knight takes h5 with check. So I don't have time for knight g7. That's the problem. Thank you for this game. Again, was interesting. Don William, by the way, you are the next. Accept. So you promised that I would have a convincing win, but we'll see. So as you can see, I'm blundering in each and every game. My God. So the thing is, you never know what would be blundered next. Maybe my next blunder will be something like a queen. And with all due respect to my imagination, most likely you will just beat me with the extra queen, so I don't know. Najdorf. Yes. Najdorf. Okay, this order of moves gives me a chance to play g4, and I find it very good. So we're fighting for d5 square mainly, and we're also expanding on the king side, so that we're just starting the attack there. After knight e8, if I play queen d5, there is knight c7. Okay. This means it's better to put the queen on d2, simply. Protecting g5, preparing castling long, and actually controlling a5 square. After b5, it's a typical idea for white just to put the knight on a5, especially if the bishop is on b7, let's say. Or after something like this, so bishop d5, ed5, let's say, then knight goes to a5 and goes to c6. Simply positional way of playing that. So attack on the king side, I mean, is not the only plan. Also, knight on a5 will be a good blockading piece. So black's plan usually includes pushing pawns here. When the knight is on a5, it's nearly impossible. Taking with the queen is still not so clear because of knight c7. And then knight gets to e6 with the temple, so I think taking on d5 with the pawn is correct. Because now look at the knight e8. Even if it goes to c7, it doesn't go anywhere further, so it may become just a permanently bad piece. That's a risk for black. Now just knight a5, exactly what I was talking about. Get into c6 square, which is very weak after black exchanged his light squared bishop for my knight on d5. Knight c5. Now it's very tempting to play knight c6, but then queen goes to c7 or d7. Is there a follow-up? I'm not sure. There is also a threat of just playing knight to e4, attacking my queen, and if my queen goes away, then my knight on a5 will be hanging. So I think we should put our knight on c6 first, and then to see how it works, how it goes. Knight e4 will be not so dangerous if we have g5 protected, for instance. So probably the next move will be something like h4, just protecting the pawn. Why not? Or maybe rook to g1 with the same idea. Also intended to play bishop to g4. Yeah, I think rook g1 is better than h4 in this particular case. Because we combine protecting g5 with bishop g4. A preparation of the bishop g4, I mean. Should be very annoying position for black, right? So queen is under attack. Queen has to go to e8. I don't see any other square. Otherwise, I'm just taking the bishop. Now it should be very simple, like bishop c5, dc5, knight e7, queen e7, d6, right? Yeah, looks like that. So let's take here first. It's also possible without bishop g4, but I noticed this sequence after bishop g4. And bishop g4 shouldn't be bad. d6. And takes knight next move. Yeah, Don William was right. Actually, this game is pretty convincing, I believe. This one is pretty convincing. But we're still in the game, so we shouldn't be 100% sure that everything is over. There still may be a blunder at some point. A blunder of mine, I mean. So, rook to d5. Looks good. Centralization. a5. Let's keep position closed. Okay. This is something I will take, of course. Rook there, let's say c4. Blockading the pawn with a queen. Oh, queen d8 was possible. Oh my goodness. I'm so weak, but okay. Don William decided to help. Actually, it made it possible again. Yeah, guys, this time I'm just a joke, you know. I'm just a joke. I'm playing like... I'm not going to tell you like what, you can see it with your eyes. Yeah, everything was actually solved after I got a possibility to get to a5, I think, because already this position is, yeah, almost winning strategically for white. So pair of bishops, much more space. This knight on e8 is very bad. Light squares are very weak. There is no typical play on the queen side for black. Knight is going to c6. So all the factors are actually saying that white should have very comfortable advantage. And indeed, it is true. So I would recommend to substitute castling with bishop e6. That is the better order of moves, because if the king is still on the 8, g4 usually makes no sense and maybe even dangerous, because black still has the rook on h8 and may undermine that pawn at some point and open files on the king side. So white usually doesn't play this g4 here. And after castling, let's say, g4 is also not good for white. So this order of moves gives black better chances compared to castling immediately, because now whenever I play knight e5, you can take it with the bishop again if you want, but you're not in a rush with playing b5, let's say. And yeah, it's just absolutely normal playable position for black. Okay, try Akan is the next one. 2653. I think this guy will beat me finally, because this guy is very strong. I'm just not ready to play against a strong opponent tonight, as we can see. I'm not ready to play against everybody. I'm just not ready. Yeah. So, what do we have here? Oh, Scotch. I'm definitely not ready for it. And h4. Oh my god, I don't remember how to react to that. It's just very tricky line. So here, queen b4 check is probably something. I don't remember if it works here. So queen b4 check. What's going on? King to d1, most likely. Yeah, it's terrible for black anyway. Okay, let's just step back. Now, let's try to attack that c4 pawn. Shouldn't be that terrible. A4 is probably something logical here. What if queen b4 now? Doesn't make sense. Not sure. Just experimenting. Testing my intuition. So I have a direct threat of just playing a3, let's say. And bishop goes away, I'm taking the knight. I also have a threat of maybe just taking on b3, winning a pawn. There are some tricks based on taking on c4 at some point if the bishop is not protected. On b2. Queen c2. Okay. What to do now? I had an idea of just playing queen a5, in fact. But first, for some reason, I want to play this move. And now queen a5, attacking e5, and intending to put my bishop on b4. Or maybe it's not so bad for me. This position in general. Then most likely we'll just castle on and undermine e5 somehow. f4. I thought rook h3 was the best move. Protecting the knight in advance, at the same time preparing rook e3 against queen e5. But what white played is also good. It looks pretty decent. So now it's time to undermine the central pawn, I suppose. And it's a good question how to take. Of course, cd6 is kind of natural, but rook d6 is active. On the other hand, followed by another rook to d8. I think this is the right way. But then knight goes to e4. Come on. It's not so simple. So rook d6, knight goes to e4. Attacking my rook. Maybe rook takes d2. Knight takes d2, sacrificing an exchange, but I don't think I will have a sufficient compensation there. Okay, let's take with the pawn after all. But I don't really like it, to be honest. So I would be happy to play rook takes d6 and then another rook to d8 quickly, creating some spreads on the queen side, but I was just a bit afraid of this knight e4. Another point with that, I was not sure if after rook d6 I have a clear way to improve my knight and my bishop. Here at least I have d5 at some point, right? Right. I have to be careful right now because there are some threats. What do we take on d2? Should I take on d2? Okay, let's just take. Okay. Probably not what I wanted to get. So before white played c5, I was not sure how to react to that. So if king c7, for example, c5 was possible. And if I take on f1, cb6 was check. That was a nice trick. Now I hope I will be first to exchange that bishops. And maybe get some chances. So after all, I'm a bit better developed, but this will change just... Oh, knight to c5. Well, yet another blunder. Didn't notice that move, so I have to play bishop b7. Shit. This looks not very good. On the other hand, there is no longer this knight g5 threat to f7, so maybe I will have enough time to improve my pieces quickly. So I decided to take with the knight just to attack f4 and maybe to have knight b4 threat to attack a2, which is my target. Okay, that's what I wanted to try. To put my knight there. c7. Okay, so what's going on here? Bishop c8 should be played, I guess. Interesting position, but I don't have enough time to evaluate it, and that's a problem. Oh, this way. How to react to that? Don't really know. Oh, that's just a blunder. Okay. Yeah, I told you I will be just annihilated by this guy. Yeah, it's absolutely lost position for black. Obviously, it's my only chance. Some tricks. Some tricks. 3 seconds only. No, there's no chance. All right. Doesn't matter. I was really short on time. Of course, at the very end, I got some chances even to win the game, I think, especially after rook c4, but it was all the time trouble. Yeah. So I was very close to get very decent position. Somewhere here. Maybe a3 was too early, you know? Maybe queen a5 immediately could have been much more interesting. Why? Because I keep both options to play a3 and to play ab3 if necessary. So it keeps quite under pressure. I still believe that rook h3 deserves serious attention in such a position. So if I take on e5, then rook e3 wins a queen. It's bad for black. And this move actually protects the knight. So a3 is not necessarily that dangerous. Actually, even bishop b4 is not that dangerous. There is no direct threat of playing a3. But I have a feeling that something like castling is possible here. If a3, then bishop a1, no problems. And I don't see how I can actually use the open a file here after ab3. So, do not. Okay, a file is open, but what's next? Okay, so probably, yeah, I had absolutely nothing there. Only after d6, ed6, I was curious if rook d6 could have been a better option. But then knight to e4, that is what I wanted to avoid. Because the pawn structure is bad. My only hope is some, dynamic play, but I'm not sure that I have it. So knight takes d2, so what? Yeah, there is nothing, absolutely, just an exchange down. All right, yeah, so it takes there, knight to e4. Most likely somewhere here I could have played a bit better. Which always an annoying threat, so my bishop on a6 is hanging in many lines. So I'm not sure that I have a clear way to equalize here in this position. All right, thank you for that game, Akan. And the next is on M. And I think it will be the last one for today. playing black pieces. Okay, so the only normal game was, the game I was not really disgusted by against Don William. But Don William really helped to make that game good for me. In each and every game, except for the one with Don William, I was playing really badly. Either too slow or too weak or both. Okay. Well, we all have these days when we play like a very, very, very bad version of us. All right? Don Williams says, I told you, Andrey. Well, thank you. Okay. Takes there, knight c4, bishop a6, b3, b5, knight somewhere. So, I've played that so many times. And it's not necessarily that great line for black, it's just one of interesting ones. But honestly, white should be better here if he plays right moves. Yeah, let's just take there, go back to b6 after bishop b2, go to b5 after knight to c4. It's all kind of theory, so black has extra pawn, but it's really hard to convert it because it's a backward one. So white has pair of bishops and position is hence more or less balanced. If I remember my analysis correctly, yeah, the analysis with the engine at some point. So engines recommend something like bishop f6 followed by e5, or at least it is something that is played nowadays, most likely because of this engine's analysis. Because e5 immediately, then knight to d5, and it's not clear how to activate that dark squared bishop. Okay, rook d3, I don't really understand the idea behind that move. Okay, maybe just to double rook still on the d file, which was pretty obvious, by the way. Okay, let's take on b3. Now we have some sort of activity along the a file for our a8 rook. Maybe we can even try rook a2 right now. But what about just knight a6 with the idea of knight to c5? This may be also an interesting option. The only problem with that is that bishop f6, e5. Then if bishop e7 and rook d7, I don't know where to go. So maybe rook a2 first to start with. Queen goes to c2 almost immediately. What's the point? Queen to b1, most likely. Yep. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, let's go back to a7. Covering at least d7 square. So maybe at some point we'll be ready just to play knight to d7. And knight goes to e5. That was not expected. Doesn't mean it is bad. What about c5? Trying to develop our knight on c6. Probably after some preparation, because if we play knight c6 next move, there is, yeah, capturing and e5. But now the knight is again on c4. So knight c6 now, e5, knight to d5, bishop d5, e d5, rook d5. Yeah, white is better, simply. So what to do? What to do here? Yeah, white is better anyway. Yeah. Position is materially balanced now. And probably it's balanced in general. So white is having probably better pawn structure, but I should have some activity here. And light squares are not necessarily that perfectly protected. Maybe it gives me something, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. Okay, I won on time, but as I said, position should be just more or less balanced here. I don't see a clear way to achieve anything with white or black. So for example, just move the king to g2 or something. So only time helped me to make this game, resulting. All right, thank you very much, guys, for being with me this time. I know it was not instructive whatsoever because I was playing like a moron. Next time I'll do my best actually to be like in a better shape, not so tired. Not everything depends on actually my will, but well, at least I will try. Yeah. As always, wish you all the best. See you all next week. Training Tuesday, Banter Blitz, everything as usual. Yeah, have a nice time. Play chess. Bye bye.